Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy for today's video. Do I even restart at this point? The record button's all the way over there, man. I mean, I could push it again. Ah, shit. Let's just go with it, man. Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. We got one all-time NBA record from all 30 teams. Video by Austin Sweat. I'm going to guess the Pistons is probably... Rasheed Wallace is on the probably most technical fouls. I'm just saying, man. Bad boys. Rasheed Wallace, like, ain't a bad guess.
Every NBA team has a superstar.
Not a bad
player.
guess.
It seems almost every other week an all-time NBA record is being set or broken by an up-and-coming player. So much so that I was able to find at least one all-time record set by one member of almost every NBA team.
It's crazy.
The only rule we're going to use for today's video, though, is that it has to be an all-time record and not just a franchise team record.
That's fair.
One of the most impressive records that I found owned by Kevin Durant is the fact that he's Team USA's all-time Olympic scorer, which is impressive considering Team USA is where all the greatest NBA players of all time have played, at least American ones. And his longevity
like, by far.
young age have helped him out because he's played in 3 Olympics, while greats like Michael Jordan have only played in 2. But even then, LeBron also played in 3, but KD has scored almost twice.
Yeah, MJ was too busy playing damn baseball.
More impressive, Olympic Melo has played in 4, but still has 100 points scored less than Durant.
Yo, that's was that Luigi Datome?
Teams in
I
the
think it
Olympics
was.
have seen him played against a few guys with a similar size to Carmelo Anthony. They may have had a slight idea of how to guard him, but it's clear no one in the world on any other team has any clue how to guard Kevin Durant. His fellow Olympian and Nets teammate James Harden doesn't hold such a great NBA record. Because he holds the all-time spot for most turnovers in a single season, but he also holds the number 3 and the number 5 spots. But hey,
yo, Artis Gilmore
is also the all-time leading left-handed scorer in the NBA. Jaylen Brown set a scoring
bro, you got like baby hands or something? If you're a legitimate center, you got like the all-time most turnovers? Like, that's actually kind of crazy, bro. Y'all saw it with Artis Gilmore?
Of his own back in January of this year, when he came out on fire and torched the Cavs, scoring 33 points. But the impressive part is he did it in 19 minutes.
That's
setting an
very
NBA
impressive.
record for most points ever scored in under 20 minutes. Fighting 13 of his 21 shots and 3 out of 4 from 3. You know you have to be on some
bro, you could have got Kobe's 81.
One shot every minute you're in the game. If you're going to put up Kobe Bryant-like shot attempts, you got to at least back it up. And on that night, the young Jaylen Brown did. But speaking of Kobe Bryant stat lines, Jordan Clarkson had the perfect one. With 40 points, 0 assists, going 16 of 33 from the field, and 5 of 16
man, I'm sick of the narrative that Kobe didn't pass. Doesn't the man average like 5 assists throughout his career?
Becoming the first ever player with 40 plus points, 0 assists, and at least 50.
Kobe was a good
but that
passing
kind of
shooting
a
guard.
little too specific. What really makes this the perfect Kobe Bryant night was that in the 4th quarter, he put up 24 points with 8 field goals made.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Speaking of young NBA players setting records, along with Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett shattered the previous NBA record for most rookie jersey sales when he came into the league. Of course, Zion had more than RJ, but Zion was a phenomenon. He was all over SportsCenter and ESPN every second of every day before he had ever played an NBA game and went first overall. I think it makes it all that more impressive.
Man, I know that's why the Knicks fans didn't want RJ Barrett no trade rumors, because you all spent your $60 on one of them jerseys, man. Not 6, that's a video game. What's a jersey, like 150 probably? 120 for something decent maybe? $20 for a knockoff? I don't know, man. Whatever you gotta do.
Impressive for RJ. Being that he was the 3rd overall pick, not as hyped up, and still sold twice as many jerseys as the previous record holder, Lonzo Ball, whose younger brother LaMelo became the youngest player to ever record a triple-double in his rookie season at 19 years and 140 days old, when he put up 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists, topping the previous record holder Markelle Fultz, Luka Doncic, and his own brother Lonzo.
All recent players
in the NBA inside the Antetokounmpo family have already made NBA history of their own. When Giannis led the Bucks to the NBA championship, himself, Thanasis, and Kostas became the first ever sibling trio to become NBA champions. It's an impressive
that's badass. Okay, I like that.
On maybe an even more impressive all-time record, with their 4th brother Alex just signing with the Raptors G League team. And as a 6'8" forward, it seems like in no time they're gonna be the first set of 4 brothers to have ever played in the
NBA. They got the whole damn starting lineup.
Another night, Zach LaVine and Kobe White were playing like they were twin brothers, because they were the first ever teammates to both make 8 threes in a single game back in February. Clearly, it's a record that has never been anywhere near touched until these past couple of years. I'm sure we'll see it happen again one day given the current state of the game, but 8 threes each is a lot of threes. That's 48 points just off of 2 players hitting 3-pointers. Zach finished that game with 48 points of his own, and Kobe had 30. These aren't the 2 players you would have necessarily expected to put up this type of record, but it just goes to show any player in the NBA can get hot on any given night.
LaVine for sure.
Lillard,
Kobe White has his moments.
12 3-pointers in this last year's playoff against the Denver Nuggets, in what Terry Stotts said was the greatest playoff performance he had ever seen. And he may not be wrong. Dame scored 55 points and was the answer for everything the Nuggets threw at him that night. He looked superhuman going against 6'8" Aaron Gordon and 6'10" Michael Porter Jr. all night, with neither of them being able to stop him. And the playoff record's great, but it still resulted in a loss, and it may have broken Klay Thompson's record 11 threes in a playoff game, but Lillard put up 12 in a 52-minute double overtime game, while Klay had his night in only 40 minutes. And while we're here, we may as well
be said about that, I suppose.
Thompson's records, who holds about as many three-point records as possible.
Now that he gonna talk about the 37 points. Because he did on my boy Nick Stauskas.
So it was tough
Sauce
to just
Castillo.
pick one for him. He scored a record 37 points in a single quarter. He had the most consecutive threes to start a game, the most threes and a half, the most threes in a quarter, and the most threes in a quarter without a miss. And for the first time in 2 years, pretty soon we're about to finally see this man back on an NBA floor. A man who almost never touched an NBA floor was Fred VanVleet, after going undrafted in 2016. But he persevered, never gave up, and eventually proved that he belonged in the league.
Yeah, he's such a great story, to be honest.
Teams told him that he didn't. In 2018, he broke out. In 2019, he helped the Raptors win their championship.
Jurassic Park?
So in 2020, he signed a 4-year, $85 million deal with them. The largest contract ever signed by an undrafted player in the NBA. Finally proving that he belonged and deserved a full-time contract. Not all records are good records, though. The Philadelphia 76ers bring us two of the worst in the NBA. Andre Drummond's the record holder for most free throws missed in a game with 20.
Hey, he did that shit in Detroit, but he's yours now, Philly. Y'all get credit for that.
That's from back when he was on the Pistons as they're up.
I swear this, oh man, this better not be the one for the Pistons. I won't be pissed, Din, that this is the one for the Pistons.
Player, but was on pace to be a worse free throw shooter than Shaq, making an embarrassing 35% of them. In his record-setting game, he was hacked the entire time, at one point getting fouled 5 times in 9 seconds. And his 23 misses beat out a 50-year record previously held by Will Chamberlain.
Give me Rasheed's technicals.
The 76ers also have Ben Simmons, technically, who holds the record for worst free throw percentage in playoff history at 34.2%. So to have them both on the same team, pretty scary stuff.
Nasty.
For the Timberwolves, it was hard to come up with an all-time record for them considering their roster.
That better not account for Detroit, because he ain't in Detroit no more.
At least I didn't come up with a negative one. There was a lot of franchise records to go source through, but we're not here for those. The one I did find, though, the all-time record, was the fact that D'Angelo Russell was the youngest player to ever record 200 three-pointers and 500 assists in a single season.
Impressive.
Kind of odd, I know, but it's fine, because speaking of three-pointers, that leads us to a few others. Maybe surprising, but Duncan Robinson is the fastest NBA player by far to reach 400 career three-pointers. He did so in 125 games, beating out the previous record holder Trae Young, who took 159.
How does Steph Curry
compare to that? Buddy Hield is currently the fastest NBA player to have ever scored 1,000 three-pointers. He did so in 350 games to slightly beat out Steph Curry. But
Bro, it's literally insane that in like 10-15 years, the top 3-point shooters of all time is going to be, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You're going to have like Buddy Hield and like Duncan Robinson and stuff like that over guys like Reggie Miller and Ray Allen, man. It just goes to show how the game has changed so much. I'm no disrespect to those guys for, making that list eventually, because that's what they do is shoot threes, but it's just so hard to, think of like Duncan Robinson, like the same mind frame as like Ray Allen.
Better soak it up while I can, because it's not going to be a record that he holds for too much longer. Because on the pace he's currently at, Duncan is on pace to hit his 1,000th three-pointer in his 312th game, which would be sometime next season. And speaking of three-pointers, we have Trae Young, who last year set an insane playoff record to become the first ever player to record 45 points and 10 assists in a playoff game. And what makes it even more impressive, he did it against the future NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks in a win. That's hard to top.
I cannot wait for the NBA playoffs, man. I'm ready for it already.
Maybe the last player you think of when you think of all.
Oh, this is he had like 8 steals in the game, didn't he?
NBA records. But TJ actually somehow holds 2 insane ones. He was the first bench player to record multiple 15-point, 15-assist games, and the only player in NBA history to record 9 steals in 1 half. While the all-time record for a single game was 11, which he somehow didn't break. He finished that game with only 10, but it's okay because his stat line included a triple-double with 100% shooting on the night. We all remember Way Off P's
like a perfect game
collapse in the 2020 postseason, where he fell off worse than we've ever seen someone do. Well, within that time, he made history, becoming the first player to shoot under 25% in 3 straight playoff games since Bob Cousy in 1960.
Bob Cousy?
Star hasn't played that bad very often, and if it was a bench player that
we talk about Bob Cousy
get benched after the second game. While on the subject of 2020, that couldn't have been a weirder year for Bradley Beal and the Wizards, who set 2 records for completely opposite reasons. Personally, he did great, scoring 25 plus points in the first 17 straight games of the NBA season.
Impressive.
The most to start a year since Michael Jordan. But in that very same year, the Wizards went on a streak of losing 10 straight games whenever Bradley scored at least 40 points. So whenever he was more involved than his teammates weren't.
Don't that just put into perspective how great Michael Jordan was? Where you hear so many like comparisons like stat wise, just like because Michael Jordan, like You know, guys like Wilt Chamberlain, yes, dropping 70 points or whatever all the time is really impressive. But, like, Michael Jordan was just, like, your regular shooting guard. Yes, he was freakishly athletic and stuff, but just a different position, just like the way the game was played. It's really impressive.
The team did bad. Another bad team is the Orlando Magic, which I didn't find any all-time records owned by them. It makes sense, though, given the young age of the roster. The only all-time record I did find was that Mo Bamba has the longest wingspan of any player to have ever attended the NBA Combine at 7 foot 10 inches. So just for reference, the average man has a wingspan of about 2 inches more than their height. Well, Mo Bamba is 7 foot even.
Yo, I got 5'10" wingspan.
Another young and upcoming
player, I'm 5'8".
Dort has really started to improve himself recently, and one of the first times he really ever bursted on the scene was when he set his own all-time record, becoming the youngest player to ever score 30 points in a Game 7, when he did it against the Houston Rockets at under 21 years old.
Future All-Star.
Another player who has a historic record before his 21st birthday. It was the fact that he was the only player to have ever averaged 25 points per game for their career before they turned 21. The second closest was LeBron James, who averaged 24.99. Nikola Jokic has defied all odds
24.99
after falling asleep during the NBA draft and then being taken late in the second round.
Well, yeah, they all had damn Taco Bell commercials playing over his actual draft thing. I'd be sleeping through that shit too. No, I wouldn't. I'd be in the damn bathroom throwing up. Who's gonna draft me? Ugh!
Turned things around since then, as we know, becoming the first ever.
I'm just trying to think what team would actually make me throw up if they drafted me. I don't really think I have one. I don't think I dislike any team that much.
Round to be named NBA MVP. Now, back in 2016, Kevin Love also had an MVP performance of his own, even though it only lasted one game. Well, actually, one quarter. When he scored 34 points in the first quarter of the Cavs game against the Portland Trailblazers, finishing at 3 points off of Klay Thompson's all-time record. And considering Kevin started this game out like that,
bro could have dropped 120 points.
He
could have kept it up.
Score 136 points, but instead he finished with 40. As a matter of fact, during that year's All-Star game,
only 40.
He set an all-time record when he scored 52 points in it and took a lob from almost everyone on the team, shattering the previous record of 42 points set by Wilt Chamberlain way back in the day.
About the same caliber defense there too.
That's a record that's gonna last. And so will JaVale McGee's record. He actually doesn't hold an all-time record, but a world record for most basketballs dunked in one jump. He dunked 2 balls during the dunk contest. The same night he attempted to set the world record for dunking 3 balls in a single jump.
Nobody else is beating that.
Detroit Pistons first overall pick Cade Cunningham is really having an up and down rookie year so far, after he was off to a historically bad start, shooting 17% through his first 3 games. Something we've never seen from an NBA player ever taken that any position before. But speaking of debuts, in Luka Doncic, just debuted to the NBA playoffs, he had 42 points, beating out John Williamson, George Mikan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Julius Erving, and Derrick Rose, who were all previously in the top 5 before Luka. Ja Morant got extremely close to beating Luka for that record, scoring 47 points in his second ever playoff game. It's okay though, because it's still an all-time record, giving him the most points scored by a player under 21, a record that used to be owned by LeBron James, who had 45. Then for the Spurs and Rockets, they had no current players with records. They could have been cheap and tried to be fair to them, and found maybe a cool franchise record that one of their players have set, but we're not giving out any handouts to a team for not being good enough.
They gotta be, you know what I would have done? I would have gave it to Greg Popovich. I know that man's got some records somewhere.
If you enjoyed, like, comment, and subscribe.
Alright guys, let's see on the video right there. I wasn't too happy about the Cade one. Kind of a buzzkill to the end of the video for me, but it's all good. It's all good. It's true. It's a fact of the matter is that he started off very, very bad, but he's all good now. That's all we got for this video. Great video by Austin. As always, link to his channel description below, and peace out, my friends.